Why isn't anyone talking about how hard it is to get a job that is actually aligned with your values? When Loretta graduated in the middle of COVID with an environmental degree, the job options were dwindling. In search of a truly sustainable job option, not a greenwashed position that still damaged the environment, she found grant writing. 3 years later and several job pivots, Loretta is her own boss, despite the odds being stacked against her. And the work she does, phenomenal. She just won a $500K grant for Redwood Conservancy, preserving the wilderness area that she grew up hiking in, among so much more. Let's meet Loretta and also Erica, who took over for me while I was sick.
I would love to know, when you think back to your life pre-grant writing, paint me a picture of what your life looked like.
I graduated from Oregon State University during COVID with an environmental policy degree. During school, I was getting internships and other things to bolster my knowledge so that when I got out of undergrad, I could go and start working in the environmental sustainability field. When I got out, the entire government was shut down. The EPA was getting defunded by the current administration, and I had no type of direction for what I wanted to do with my life. My roommates actually opened up a scuba diving shop up here in Washington. So I moved with them up here and I started working at a dog kennel, and picking up poop was a big part of my day. During my time in the collective, I've probably had about 3 career changes. I started at the dog kennel, finally got back into retail, and then after that I moved into pharmacy over these past 3 years. And it wasn't until just recently that I was able to quit pharmacy and work on grants full time.
Bring it back to the puppies. After spending so much time in the dog kennels, what's your favorite dog breed?
I have a Corgi.
I would love for you to talk about your Corgi project.
When I was in my undergrad, I was trying to develop a recycling project for plastic. It's going to be my nonprofit foundation called Corgi Cleanups. Basically, I have an idea that all of the plastic that is on the ground or in the landfills, I see the waste as ink for a computer 3D printer. And if I can find a way to make sure that any type of plastic can be rendered back into a usable powder, which can then be formed into 3D printing ink, it will not only alleviate the burden of plastic pollution entering society in the water stream, it will also make manufacturers use recycled materials when it comes to the forefront of plastic science. Like, it's something we need to deal with. I actually just got accepted to Washington State University for environmental engineering. I'm hoping for my master's project degree to study how to minimize negative side effects of plastic and how to reuse those materials to improve operations like pharmacy or make classroom materials. So I'm hoping through my Corgi Cleanups nonprofit to reduce plastic in the environment, especially in areas where like you're walking your dog and stuff on the beach, and then to repurpose those materials into something that has a greater use for society.
What an ingenious and creative idea. My mind is sort of blown of how you put that all together. When you joined, what was your definition of success?
I wanted to get a full-time remote work from home job to hit that 35K mark that was there when I first started. Since then, it's actually increased to a 50K mark. I finally just hit that this year. I have consistently made about $20,000 a year since I've started in the collective. So right now, my view of success is just finding that full-time income stability where I can do what I love with grant writing.
What is your hourly rate? How does it compare from when you worked in dog kennels to what your hourly rate is now?
When I worked at the dog kennel, I was making like $14 an hour. And then I moved into pharmacy tech again, got licensed in Washington. My max wage was $23 an hour. And now I'm making $75 an hour. I actually have some projects where I make up to $90 or $100 an hour.
Amazing. That is so cool. Take me back to a really challenging moment in this journey. What happened and what did that feel like?
When I realized that I would need a lot more experience to get a full-time grant writing position. It was like in the first year when I started, and I was still working at the dog kennel and doing this part-time, and just the learning curve that you first experience when you get here and then just not enjoying the employment area that I was in. I went through a big depression phase, and it took me about 6 months to get out of that. Real talk, I'm diagnosed bipolar 2, and I suffer from extreme low mood swings at times. And thankfully, I've stuck with the collective. I've kept going at it. I've kept learning. And I would say in the past year, I haven't had any issues with my depression. And I only ever have panic attacks in case I'm working near the deadline of a grant application and the technology isn't working. So my mental health has vastly improved since starting with the collective.
It's so valuable and important for everyone to hear the ups and the downs. So thank you so much for sharing that part of it. I just want you to recognize the power in sharing that challenge, also in overcoming that challenge. How do you feel like you handled those moments while you were going through them?
I would say when you're going through them, you don't really think about it. It's only once you get out of them that you recognize that you were in them. I think a lot of people with anxiety, you don't realize it. And then once you're out of it, you're like, oh, okay, this is what triggered it. This is what happened. This is how I can improve in the future. And I would say that overall in my mental health journey, I found that a lot of different supplements help improve my mood and keep me balanced.
I am so excited that in the last year that you've been able to experience less of that. What are you the most proud of this far in your grant writing journey?
Is working with a fellow unicorn on an AmeriCorps Redwood Conservancy grant. Together, we won $500,000 for the Redwood Conservancy, which is part of the Redwood Forest down in Crescent City, California. I grew up walking and hiking in that area, and so to be able to say that I actually won money that'll help take care of that area for the next generation is one of my most proudest accomplishments so far.
What a full circle moment for you.
Yeah.
I also love it when unicorns work together. That is always one of the things that brings such a smile to my face. Right. Can you describe one of the projects you're working on?
The most exciting thing that I'm working on, and I am allowed to share the client's name, is for Nanotech Energy. They are a technology company that deals with material science. We are working on not only developing the first sustainable closed loop battery development system in North America, but we are also working on getting our graphene powered batteries into the market through a Department of Energy grant. So if we can get the funds for this gigafactory development project, we will revolutionize the American battery market with a more sustainable supply system.
So cool. Wow. Okay, so what is one fact that you've learned while working on this project?
To make sure that you collaborate with your team early, get those meetings done, and get the information you need in the first 3 weeks of writing the grant. Otherwise, at the end, you're scrambling to find meeting time with some of the executives and the financial team and some of the other really important parts. So making sure that you're scheduling around your clients' needs is one of the biggest things that I've learned with this project.
That is a great tidbit of wisdom. Absolutely. Rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
What's one word to describe your dream lifestyle?
Sustainable.
Next vacation spot?
It's going to be in Playa del Carmen, Mexico for my 3-year anniversary in April.
Fantastic. Favorite podcast?
I'd rather read.
Okay, well, let's change it. What is your favorite genre to read?
Fantasy, supernatural, magic type books, whether it's with dragons or witches or werewolves, vampires, that whole supernatural genre.
I could read fantasy novels forever, so I totally get that. What is the last TV show you binged?
Love is Blind, season 6.
What's your superpower?
My enthusiasm for learning new things.
It's just so evident once again in your journey because so much of that curiosity and that seeking of knowledge probably went into so much of like your networking, getting to know people and finding what opportunities there were out there. Curiosity is something we speak about, but how important of a role it can play in a journey is huge. You're like a walking, talking role model of seeking curiosity. So very cool.
Oh, thank you, Erica.
What would you say to anyone who is looking to join the collective?
I would say do it. It's a life-changing experience, and it's practically a guaranteed business plan if you have the drive and you want to seek the knowledge to do grant writing as a full-time gig or even just as a part-time freelance gig. I struggled to find a purpose that I really cared about, and once I found the collective and I started just really working on certain grants that were part of my passion projects, that I found my purpose, not just a career. And so if you're vacillating saying that, oh, I don't know if I can afford it or not, let me tell you, if you go through the business plan and you approach clients the way that they teach you in the collective, you will succeed. I have had tons of consultants from Washington, D.C. and other places tell me that the experience and education you get out of the collective is beyond what they have seen in grant writers, and also some of the government classes that are given out to places in Colorado and other places do not compare to the education that you will get in the LGW collective. So don't wait.
Oh, I love that. Don't wait. Jump on it. Get those dreams going. Absolutely. I just love how in alignment you are with yourself. Like, it's very easy to see how passionate you are about the environment, about sustainable living. And I just think that shows through all your work, through all your grant writing. I think it's really cool that grant writing can take all these different elements of business mixed with passion, mixed with change making, and how it combines together. And I think you're the perfect example of that.
I try to live my values, and one of the reasons why I chose grant writing, it's a truly sustainable niche. I have not printed more than like 5 pages of paper since I started my business 3 years ago, and I can travel anywhere with my laptop and a solar charger and just be completely no carbon footprint for the most part.
Not a lot of us can say that, so that is a huge deal. I am so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. I am so happy to have had this conversation with you. Bye, and thank you so much, okay?
All right, thank you so much.